You're watching Northwest Sports Tonight, brought to you by McDonald's. Did you know many of your favorite choices at McDonald's are under 400 calories? Come see for yourself. McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Off the fence. Trout digging into high gear, going for another triple. He's going to get it. Goodness gracious.
The free fall continues for the Mariners as they get hammered again. The players have their say. Lots of news from the NFL today, including Urlacher's retirement, and Russell Wilson talks about teaming with Percy Harvin. And in case of what have you done for me lately, the Canucks fire coach Alain Vigneault after he leads them to 6 of the last 7 division titles. Welcome to Northwest Sports Tonight. The Mariners have lost 6 straight games, their longest skid of the season. They held a players-only meeting today after their 7-1 thumping in Anaheim. In their 2 games in Anaheim this week, the M's got outscored 19-1. Today, rookie Brandon Maurer struggled on the hill while his teammates bombed at the plate. For the Angels, it was bombs away in the first. Hank Conger, born in Federal Way with an RBI single to right. Angels score 5 runs in the first inning. In the third, Eric Ibar drives in the Angels' 7th run of the game. Single up the middle. 7-zip Angels. We're still in the third. You're not watching last night's game. Charlie Furbush, one of the rare bright spots today. He doesn't give up a hit in 3 innings. He strikes out 3. Nice outing for Furbush. C.J. Wilson holds the M's to just 6 hits. He strikes out 10 in 8 innings. Mariners finally get on the board on the RBI ground out by Michael Saunders. You know it's a bad night when your only run comes by the ground outs. The Mariners lose 7-1. M's have now lost 6 straight. Maurer gets rocked. 11 hits, 7 runs in 3 innings. His youth is showing. Mariners have tomorrow off to try to regroup before they open a 3-game series at home against the Rangers starting Friday. Seahawks had the day off from OTAs. Chris Egan spent some time at the VMAC this week. Today he features the new Russell Wilson-Percy Harvin combo.
What a difference a year makes. A year ago, Russell Wilson was in a 3-way battle with Matt Flynn and Tavares Jackson. Now, there's no question who the Seahawks leader behind center is, and Wilson says that makes this year's OTAs drastically different.
You know, leadership role is already established, I think, also, and then also just the reps. Last year I was splitting, a third of the reps all the way through August pretty much. So, I think that'll give me a little of a boost and get me ready for the season. And I'm excited about that. We got a great offense, got a lot of great players.
His awareness and his sense for the finest details. He's working. We jumped off sides today, and he's working on hard counts on the third play of the team. He didn't know what a hard count was last year at this time.
Russell's excitement with the offense is growing, especially after he watched his new wide receiver Percy Harvin blow by the Hawks defense.
The word around here is just competitiveness. Anytime I go against Sherman and those guys, we're just looking to make each other better. And I know anytime I step out on the field, I'm looking to make myself better. So just going against those guys, they're one of the best defenses in the league. So I just take it upon if I can beat those guys, and I'll be pretty good on Sundays against other guys.
He's just so explosive. You can expect everything out of him. He's a very, very talented football player. He's very intelligent, loves the game of football. Brings this passion to the game that is absolutely relentless.
And the feeling is mutual. Percy calls Russell the ultimate quarterback, but says his best attribute has nothing to do with his golden arm.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is just his leadership. When we're out there, it's not Coach Carroll and all those guys running practices. It's him. He's getting us in the huddle. He's getting us out of the huddle. It's his show, so he's running it, and like I say, he's been doing good so far.
No complaints when it comes to Russell. Well, maybe from the backup quarterbacks, considering number 3 likes to take as many of the snaps as possible. At the VMAC in Renton, I'm Chris Egan, King 5 Sports.
Seahawks have been getting plenty of Super Bowl hype, especially with their offseason acquisitions. All that buzz could be a big distraction, but not for the always calm and cool Russell Wilson. He's not even thinking about it.
Who knows? It's one of those things that we have to get ready for the season and just not worry about, kind of just ignore the noise. Everybody's going to be talking about how good we're supposed to be, how great we're supposed to be, Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. You can't pay attention to that. I think the biggest thing is just focus on the now, focus on the moment.
Big blow for the 49ers. Leading receiver Michael Crabtree tore his Achilles during workouts yesterday. He had surgery this morning. He may return toward the end of the season. The Hawks play in San Francisco December 8th. Crabtree had 85 catches for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2012. Coming up, Much more on how Crabtree's injury impacts the 49ers from Nate Davis of USA Today. He also talks Brian Urlacher and his potential Hall of Fame career and the possible changes to the NFL schedule. U.S. Soccer released its U.S. Open Cup fourth-round schedule today, and it certainly benefits the Sounders. Assuming the Sounders can get past the Tampa Bay Rowdies next week in Florida, the three-time Open Cup winners will return home to host the winner of the Wilmington-Portland Timbers matchup. Here it is. A win by the Sounders over the Rowdies will guarantee them a fourth-round matchup against most likely the Timbers. That game is scheduled to take place at Starfire Complex on Wednesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. Schedule makers not too kind to the Sounders. Ziggy and the boys will be in L.A. Sunday to take on the Galaxy. Then fly to Tampa to face the Rowdies Wednesday. Then return to L.A. 3 days later to face Chivas USA. Tough road trip, but Ziggy has a plan.
If we go cross country, we've contacted Greyhound. We found out since there's not any domestic flight that can take our whole team, we found a bus that we can load the whole team onto. We feel if we leave Sunday right after the game, we should be there by Tuesday morning.
The Timbers make a roster move today. They signed defender Rashawn McKenzie. McKenzie joins the Timbers after making 20 appearances for Chivas USA last season. To make room, the Timbers released Ryan Kowalik. Oregon guard Damian Dotson is headed to the USA men's U19 training camp. Dotson is one of 24 players to be invited. Nigel William Goss, who signed to play for the Huskies, also got invited to the camp. To the NBA, Game 1 between the Pacers and the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. Fast forward to the fourth, 45 seconds left. Dwayne Wade makes it look easy, all the way to the bucket. 2 seconds left. Paul George needs this for the tie. And he drills it. They're going to overtime. Tight game continues. LeBron James lays it in. Heat take the lead with 10 seconds left. George heads to the free throw line to shoot 3 after he's fouled by Wade. He makes all 3. Pacers take a 1-point lead. 2 seconds left. The Heat get it to LeBron. Look at the defense. Olay. Right on by. Lays it in just before the horn, and the Heat pull it off 103-102 in overtime. And in case you're still caught up in the Kings Sonic saga, here are some notes from King 5's Chris Daniels. He says the $30 million down payment paid by Chris Hansen is still in limbo. He hasn't rejected the NBA's offer to reimburse quite yet. Chris Daniels also says the 7% of the team Hansen bought in bankruptcy is also in limbo. Hansen could still buy that minority share or sell it to Vivek Ranadive. And finally, the possibility of the Maloofs selling Hansen 20% of the team was never seriously considered by the NBA or the Maloof family.
Now for the McDonald's moment of the day. Did you know many of your favorite choices at McDonald's are under 400 calories? Come see for yourself.
Dodgers and Brewers in Milwaukee. Long fly ball. Check out the catch by Ryan Braun. Leaps at the wall. Robs Adrian Gonzalez of a homer. Braun gets just enough lift and makes the catch. Dodgers roll 9-2. Braun gives us the McDonald's moment. Coming up, Forbes releases a list of the highest paid coaches in the U.S. Find out how Pete Carroll stacks up against the likes of Sean Payton and Bill Belichick. Plus, we talk NFL with Nate Davis from USA Today. How does Michael Crabtree's injury affect the 49ers? It's coming up. For updates before you see him on Northwest Sports Tonight, make sure to become a fan of King 5 Sports on Facebook. Get raw interviews and news when you want it. Facebook.com/King 5 Sports. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Danae with the Seagulls. And I'm Natalie, and you're watching Paul Sylvia, our favorite sportscaster, on Northwest Sports Tonight.
It's been a busy week so far in the NFL with the Seahawks OTAs, and then the news today of Brian Urlacher's retirement and Michael Crabtree with the torn Achilles. A lot to get to, so we're going to bring in Nate Davis, the NFL writer for USA Today. Nate, first of all, let's talk about Brian Urlacher. There were some teams interested, but he decided to just hang it up.
He did, and I think he decided that he had a little bit left in the tank. I'm not sure how much he had left. Brian had a pretty tough season in 2012. His last game as a Bear, injures the hamstring with 4 games to go, and that's the last we'll ever see him in a Bears uniform. But I think Brian decided rather playing for the Vikings for a year or someone like that, he just wanted to retire, 13-year legacy with the Bears intact, and probably made the right decision.
That's probably too early to ask you about his chances for the Hall of Fame.
Probably pretty good. I'm not sure Brian gets in on the first ballot, but, you know, he was Defensive Player of the Year in 2005, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2000, went to 8 Pro Bowls. That's a pretty strong resume. You know, even following guys like Dick Butkus and Michael Singletary there in Chicago. So I think Brian probably gets in. Did win a Super Bowl, so that doesn't help his case, but I think you'll see Brian get in probably his 2nd or 3rd year of eligibility.
All right, let's talk about the NFC West now. Michael Crabtree, Seahawks fans know awfully well from the damage he can do on the field. He tears his Achilles. What's the status with Michael Crabtree?
Well, he had surgery today, and I'm sure the 49ers are hoping he'll be back on the field November, December time frame, but you're probably not going to get that same kind of explosive player. It's a contract year for him probably, so is he want to risk getting back on the field and re-injuring himself, looking at a new contract? Probably for 2014, so it's a tough situation for him personally, for the team. But I wouldn't expect the same kind of player, even if he does make it back for the last month or so of the season.
That's a good point. That'll be interesting to watch for sure. How about the Seahawks? They have the OTAs, and it seems like most teams are working out this week. But the news of Bruce Irvin and his 4-game suspension for violating the league's policy on PEDs. Is there a perception, do you think, across the league now that with their 5 suspensions, the Seahawks are starting to attract some negative attention?
I think that does create a little bit of the bad boy image with Seattle to some degree. But I mean, it's not an uncommon thing around the league. A lot of, particularly with players claiming the Adderall excuse. It happens almost everywhere. It just seems like it's happened more than normal in Seattle, and we'll see if the NFL has anything to say about that.
How much are the coaches to blame for something like this?
Well, I mean, obviously accountability falls to the coaches. I mean, and ultimately it falls at the feet of Pete Carroll and John Schneider. But players are responsible for what they put in their bodies. So, I don't think you can expect a coach to hold a player's hand or be with him 24 hours a day. Certainly that's not realistic. I think Bruce Irvin has taken to his credit accountability for making a poor decision, and I think that's really where the blame should lie is with the players.
One last question for you. 18 games. Do you see that happening?
I really don't, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I think it's going to be really hard to sell an 18-game season to fans and, more importantly, to the players' union. I mean, as much as the NFL has talked about injury risks and head injuries, and concussions, and wanting to reduce that, I think it's going to be a tough sell to tack on 2 more games and justify that. Unless you can really prove the concussions are down, and I think that's going to be tough to do. I think adding 2 games to the schedule flies in the face of what they want to do with player safety.
It'll be interesting to watch for sure. Nate Davis, NFL writer for USA Today, joining us. Hey, thanks a lot, Nate. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Paul.
Marshawn Lynch is still missing from OTAs, and the running back is also dealing with off-field problems. Lynch had a court date this morning for a motion to suppress evidence in his DUI case. The motion has been continued to July 5th. Lynch was arrested last summer in Northern California after police pulled him over for swerving in and out of lanes. Pete Carroll rakes in $7 million a year, and that's good enough to make him the 4th highest paid coach in the U.S. He's tied with Jeff Fisher, Doc Rivers, and Mike Shanahan. Topping the list, Saints head coach Sean Payton, who makes $8 million a year. After a disappointing postseason, the Canucks are looking to turn things around. First order of business, find a new coaching staff. More details next. And the Tiger Woods-Sergio Garcia feud has reached new heights. The latest from the spat after the break. Alain Vigneault has paid the price for the Vancouver Canucks' recent postseason collapses. Today, the Canucks fired their all-time leader in coaching wins. In 7 seasons in Vancouver, Vigneault led the Canucks to the Stanley Cup Finals only once, in 2011 when they lost to Chicago. Canucks have been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs the past 2 seasons. Memorial Cup, Winterhawks taking on Saskatoon. Things get a little chippy. Saskatoon's Michael Ferland with a rough check on the Winterhawks' Keegan Iverson. Iverson avoids injury. No score after 1. Second period, Derek Pouliot scores for the Hawks. Winterhawks score 3 goals in the third to beat Saskatoon 4-2. Portland now advances to the semifinals Friday. Like many junior golfers, 32-year-old Dusty Schmidt grew up dreaming of winning the U.S. Open. A health scare put those dreams on hold, but Dusty still has a chance to one day compete with the likes of Tiger Woods. As Joe Becker explains, Dusty is playing his cards right.
Dusty Schmidt grew up in California playing golf. He turned pro at 19 and was working toward the PGA Tour. Then at 23, suffered a heart attack.
During the recovery process, I came across poker, and that kind of ended up becoming my career, so it kind of worked out in a way.
I'll say, since he started playing at the end of 2004, Dusty has made more than $5 million profit. He's one of the top 10 online poker players in the world.
It's been a lot of work, and it's a very complex game that I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out, and luckily it's, the hard work's paid off. It's really math intensive, and it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun and a really cool way to make a living.
Dusty still loves golf, and he's a member at Pumpkin Ridge. He's playing so well he shot 69 in the local U.S. Open qualifier at Portland Golf Club. Sectionals are June 3rd, and it's the final step to the U.S. Open Golf Championship.
I don't have the highs and lows when it's your job. Now it's just more for fun, and if I get lucky and play well in the, in the sectionals, then that would be fantastic. But I don't expect that of myself like I used to.
Schmidt regained his amateur status at one point, but then lost it from the USGA after he made a challenge on YouTube.
Essentially offering anybody in the world the ability to compete against me for $1 million in a golf poker hybrid challenge.
The USGA ruled that it was in violation of the spirit of amateur golf. Dusty lost his case.
It would be pretty interesting to see all those guys again that I saw in the courtroom from the USGA at the U.S. Open.
Again, the sectionals start June 3rd. Dusty will compete with 100 players over 2 days in California. Only a handful will qualify for the U.S. Open. The feud between Tiger Woods and Sergio Garcia has reached regrettable heights. Last night, during a European Tour event, Garcia was asked if he would invite Woods to dinner during next month's U.S. Open. The Spaniard responded by saying he'd invite Woods every night and serve him fried chicken. Today, Garcia apologized for what he called his silly remark.
Terribly sorry about what happened, and I'm sure that we'll be able to talk soon, and I'll apologize to him face to face, and move forward and kind of forget about the whole thing.
Woods responded via Twitter today saying the comment wasn't silly, it was wrong, hurtful, and clearly inappropriate. He added he's confident there's real regret in Sergio's remark. Coming up, the NASCAR Hall of Fame welcomes two members of two of the most famous families in racing, plus the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And now it's work free by Dupuis. Ahead for Kunitz. Moves in and scores!
Congratulations to Chris Griffin for winning the Sterling Bank Washington Invitational. He beat Eric Hansen by 2 strokes and wins $6,000. The Sterling Bank Washington Invitational and the Drive for the Cure benefits the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance and prostate cancer research. Members of two famous families get inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame tonight. Dale Jarrett joins his father Ned in the Hall, and Maurice Petty, younger brother of Richard, becomes the 4th Petty to be enshrined. Hockey tonight, Penguins take a 3-1 lead in their series with Ottawa. Jerome McGinley and James Neal each score 2 goals. Ottawa goalie Craig Anderson gets benched after the 6th goal. Pens win it 7-3. A couple of nice plays in baseball. Look at a quick snag by Toronto's Ryan Roberts. That is quick. Got him. Finally, Alexi Ramirez going a long way for this one. Shallow left field. Twisting, turning. And he hangs on for the catch. Boston pitcher Clay Buchholz unbeaten on the season at 7-0. That's it for us. Thanks for joining us. Quick basketball note. Mike Krzyzewski says he will sign on for the Olympic team next time around. So that's good news for USA basketball. See you tomorrow night.
You're watching Northwest Sports Tonight, brought to you by McDonald's. Did you know many of your favorite choices at McDonald's are under 400 calories? Come see for yourself. McDonald's. I'm loving it.